Hi, my name is Christina Sleeper with Yoga for Runners HQ. Welcome to your 1 hour full body resets. Today, our focus will be on improving our overall posture. Obviously, that's very important when we're running, right? Because we don't want to sit too much into our low back, leaning too far back or too far forward. So we'll work on bringing proprioception awareness into our practice and therefore off our mat when we run. A few reminders, if you have not muted yourself, please go ahead and do so. That way we are not interrupting anybody's practice. For today's class, if you have them, great. If not, no worries. You'll find something else in your house that'll work. Blocks, I always recommend having them just to create more height and more space in our practice. And then a strap. If you don't have a strap, a scarf or a belt will work just fine. And then I always like to have a blanket to cover myself in Savasana and a bolster to put underneath my knees. If you have any injuries, please feel free to modify or back out of anything that doesn't serve your body. With that said, let's go ahead and get started on our backs. My puppy just walked into the room, so I'm going to take her out so she doesn't interrupt me. And I'm going to make sure you guys are all muted. So go ahead and lay down onto your backs. Go on. And then when you recline down onto your back, so we're going to come into a posture called Constructive Rest Pose. So you'll take your feet to the outer edges of your mat and knock your knees together. All right. And when we do this, this just creates more space in the low back. A little bit of broadness, so separating the femurs away from the SI joint, creating more space through your sacrum. And then if you haven't already, go ahead and gently close your eyes. And if that's too much for you, you can gaze down towards the top of your cheeks. And then go ahead and take a nice deep inhale through your nose, fill up your belly. And a nice loud audible sigh out of your mouth. You'll take 2 more just like that. Deep breath in, breathe in, lift the belly up. And an audible sigh out. Last one, deep breath in. And an open mouth exhale, release. Go ahead and seal your lips. Breathe in and out of your nose across the back of your throat. Start to engage your Ujjayi breath. So if Ujjayi is not in your practice, you don't need to use it. But if you're curious as to what it is, it's a constriction in the back of your throat, like you're fogging up a mirror. So that same sensation you would create with your mouth open, you're trying to create that with your mouth closed. So it sounds a little bit like Darth Vader when you're breathing. It's thick, it's heavy, and it's even, right? So when you're starting to breathe in and out of your nose, notice if one breath is more exerted than the other, or if one breath is shorter than the other, right? If the inhale has more strength or the exhale is a little bit shorter. We're really trying to focus and turn our mind's eye to the breath so that we can create that sensation of flowing in and out of the nose for the same amount of time. And using this breath to start to ground us and bring ourselves present on our mat, letting go of anything that may be arising for you or anything that happened earlier or anything you have to do when you get off of your mat. Just really focus and let the breath bring you to a present place here on your mat today. And then you're going to go ahead and toe heel your feet so they're more classic with distance apart. So they're in line with your hips. And then you're going to create a diamond shape with your hands. And so pointer fingers and thumbs, and you're going to invite that just to the top of your pelvis. So your pointer fingers are pointing down through the pubic region, and then your thumbs are pointing up toward your belly. And then I want you to imagine that there's a marble in between your fingers. And you're trying to roll the marble down towards your pubic bone, so you're arching your low back. So we're moving into that anterior tilt. And then you're going to smush your low back into the ground. So you're going to tilt your pelvis up, your tailbone up towards the sky. You're going to feel your low back smush into the ground, and that pretend marble is rolling towards your navel. And then you're going to do that again. So just playing with pelvic placement, feeling the overarching of the back, and then moving that marble back down to the thumbs, and feeling that over flattening of the spine. Okay, and this might feel good. Just playing with a little bit of movement. You're going to keep going. So it's like cat-cow on our spine. A couple more. Rolling the marble back and forth. You'll feel as you roll the marble towards the thumbs, you'll feel how the entire back is flat on the ground. And then I want you to find that place that's just right, right? So Goldilocks and Three Bears, find that porridge that is just right. Right, so the thoracic spine, your entire rib cage is pressing into the ground, and the low back is just slightly lifting. Tailbone is digging into the earth, and the spine is even. Good. And then I want you to try to keep that, and then lift your, release your hands down by your side, and bring your legs to reverse tabletop. Good. As you bring the reverse legs to reverse tabletop, you're going to start to smash your back into the ground so you feel your core engage. Good. And then you're going to start to lift your shoulders off the ground, reach your arms straight forward in space. So you're now in a crunch position. And then from here, lead with your right heel, send your right leg forward in space. Good. So you're holding, you're using your core. And then bring your right leg back to center. Knees are stacking directly over hips. And then send your left leg forward. Good. Modification is to come down onto your shoulders and just use the legs, right? You choose what you need. We're going to do this a few more times. We're here for 4, 3, 2. You're probably starting to get warm now. And 1. Hug both knees into your chest and give yourself a squeeze. You're going to send your legs out long in front of you. So you're in a Savasana, or what I like to call an active Savasana. Okay? And then I want you to press your shoulders firmly into the ground so that you're trying to get the entire back of your shoulder blade down onto the ground. And then I want you to reach your arms straight up towards the sky. Legs are reaching, core should be active and turned on. And then I want you to find that cat-cow in your low back again. So I want you to really exaggerate the curve in your spine so you feel a sway in your low back. And then I want you to lengthen the tailbone towards the heels so you feel your low back completely pressing on the ground. And then I want you to find that place that's just right. So low back is slightly lifting, just a little bit, not a ton. And then I want you to press the entire back of your rib cage down towards the ground. And when you do that, turn on. And then I want you to reach your arms all the way back towards the wall behind you. Palms are facing in towards each other. Low back is slightly lifting. Rib cage is completely pressing on the earth below you. And then from here, we're just going to take some walks. I want you to lift your right leg up 1 inch. And then notice when your right leg up 1 inch, how you kind of rolled over onto the right side of your body. See if you can press the left side of your rib cage down just a little bit more. Good. And then go ahead and lower the right foot down. Try to keep the core engaged as you lift the left foot up. Good. Press down through the right side of your rib cage. So if I was in the room with you and I tried to slide my hand underneath your rib cage, I would not be able to. And then go ahead and lower the left foot down. Let's do the right foot again. Keep the rib cage firming down towards the ground. Lower the right foot down, lift the left foot up. Good. Keep going, right foot. The core is engaged. Left foot. Let's see if we can lift both feet. Hold here. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hug both knees into your chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Grab the outside of your thighs and then rock and roll up the length of your spine. Or you can roll over onto your favorite side. We're gonna come into a tabletop pose. So shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. I'm starting to get warm. My heater is on. So I'm gonna take off my sweatshirt. So coming onto all fours, hands and knees, shins pressing into the ground. And then when you arrive there, go ahead and take a few rounds of cat-cow. So on the inhale, you lift your chest, you lift the gaze, and then exhale, dome through the back, draw the chin in towards the chest. Good, a few more rounds. Inhale. And exhale. Last time, inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, dome through the back. Good, and then go ahead and come into your neutral spine. Send your right leg back behind you, nice and long. So the right leg is in a plank shape. The femur of your right leg, that big thigh bone, is actively lifting up towards the sky. And then notice if you dropped into one hip more than the other, hug the outer left hip in. And then lift the low ribs up into the spine. And then from here, go ahead and lift your right leg up. So strengthening the back chain of the body by using our core. Reach through the heel. Notice if you dropped into your low back, so you created that anterior tilt, lift the hip points up towards the low rib. And then slowly release the foot down to the ground. Come back onto hands and knees. And then let's take the other side. Lengthen your left leg back behind you. So firm outer right glute in, so we're not dumping into one hip more than everything is even, nice and neutral. Hip points are lifting up towards the low rib. Low ribs are lifting up into the back body. And then from here, try to keep your core engaged and your low back stable as you lift the left leg up towards the sky. The inner thigh is what leads the movement. So both hip points remain pointing down towards the earth. Good, low ribs are lifting, collarbones are spread nice and wide. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, slowly lower the foot down. Lower the knee down. Let's take the other side again. Send your right leg back behind you. Without dumping into your low back, keep everything lifting as you lift the right leg up to the sky. And then from here, you're gonna come onto your left fingertips, right? And then maybe you stay on your left fingertips, or maybe you reach your left arm forward in space. Lift the low ribs up. Breathe. We're here for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower the hand down, lower the knee down. If you need to shake it out a little bit, you're more than welcome to. And then when you're ready, let's take the other side. The left leg goes back behind you. Keep everything lifting as you lift the left leg up. Come on to right fingertips this time. So cross body stabilization, keeping the spine nice and long. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you reach the right arm forward. Good, notice if you sat into the hip to stabilize, hug outer right hip in, so glute meads are working. We're here for 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower the hand down, lower the foot down. Let's do it, put it all together. So inhale, reach right leg back and up, reach left arm forward. Exhale, lower everything down. Inhale, reach left foot back, right arm forward. Exhale, lower everything down. We'll do it one more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last time, inhale, lift up. And exhale, lower down. Go ahead and tuck your toes under. Reach your hips, start to reach your hips back. And then straighten the legs, lift the hips up and back to down dog. Go ahead and walk out your dog, bend one knee and then the other. Taking a little bit of movement side to side. And you're more than welcome to bend your knees as much as you need to find that long spine. I'd rather your knees be super bent than your knees be straight and your spine to be curved. Right? Keep the spine as long as you can, bend your knees as much as you need to. Good. And then settle into your downward facing dog, whatever that means for you. Knees can be bent. Feet can be wide. on your mat. So if that works better for you, do whatever you need, take up as much space as you need on your mat. And then go ahead and shift yourself forward into a high plank pose. Press down through the hands, the fingertips, outer edge of thumb, outer edge of pinky. Hip points are lifting up towards the low ribs, so the tailbone is nice and long. Outer thighs hug in, inner thighs spin up. You can modify on your knees if you need to. Take a nice deep inhale here. Then exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Find a little bit of movement if you need it. Good, and then go ahead and shift yourself forward into a high plank. Modify on your knees, whatever you need. And then take a deep breath in here. I want you to press down through your hands and try to slide the mat back. So it's an isometric movement. It's not actually happening. But as you slide your hands back, you make that sensation. You're going to slowly start to bend your elbows and lower yourself all the way down to your mat. Good. So prone back bends, starting to open the back line of the body. I want you to take your fingertips off the earth, or excuse me, off your mat and onto the earth beside you. Imagine that there's a cupcake underneath your hands and you don't want to squish the icing on the top of the cupcake. And then I want you to find the fulcrum. So anchor pubic bone and hip points down to the ground. And then notice what happens into the glutes when you do that, how they start to kind of firm down through your heels. So the back body is turned on. And then I want you to start to lift your low belly off the ground. Keep the pubic bone pressing and then lift your chest up off the ground. Come into what we call oscillating cobra. And then exhale, lower down towards the ground. Good. So the more you firm your glutes, the more out of your low back you will be. So firm the glutes towards the heels, spin the inner thighs up, make room in your sacrum, anchor down to the pubic bone, and then inhale, lift low belly and chest, and exhale, lower down. 2 more times. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower. Last time. Inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower down. Go ahead and plant your palms like you're taking a push-up, because you are. I'm going to firm down through my knees. You're more than welcome to come up onto your toes. Firm down through knees or feet. Lift low belly up. Take a deep breath in. Strong exhale to push yourself up to either a full high plank or a modified high plank on the knees. If you're on your knees, go ahead and tuck your toes under. Lift your knees up off the ground. And then bend your knees, lift your hips, make your way to downward facing dog. Push the ground away from you, lift the tailbone up to the sky. Even if your knees are bent, I want you to find the scoop of the tailbone up. And then let's go ahead and take our feet as wide as the mat. So I like to keep my big toes on the mat, everything else is off. And then go ahead and walk your hands back to meet your feet. Grab opposite elbows overhead. Let everything be really heavy. So notice if the tips of your elbows are moving closer toward your shins, see if you can drive the tips of the elbows down towards the ground. Right, so that we're lengthening the entire side body. And then bend your knees as much as you need to, right? They can be super bent to get your torso to attach to the thighs. They can be semi-bent, wherever you're at in your progression of your practice. And then notice where you're carrying tension, if it's in the back of your neck, if it's in your face. See if you can try to let that go. And then go ahead and release the hands down to the earth. Toe heel your feet so they're more classic with distance apart. And then slowly keep the knees bent. Let the head be the last thing to rise as you slowly, slowly, slowly rise up one vertebra at a time. When you reach the top, shrug your shoulders up towards your ears and down your back, and then slowly walk yourself forward to the top of your mat. Good. So you can bring your feet to touching. It's totally your choice, right? Feet to touch if you feel stable that way. I like my feet hips width distance apart. That's where I feel the most grounded and the most space in my body. And then from here, be aware of where your spine is, right? So just like we did on our backs, notice if you have a tendency to sit into the low back. Find the length of the tailbone, the scoop of the hip points up, right? So imagine that marble is dead in the center. And then spread the arms so the palms are facing forward, collarbones are nice and wide. And then inhale, you'll reach both arms up to the sky. And then exhale, bring the hands into heart center. So just a couple quarter suns to link the breath to movement. Inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale, hands to heart center. Good. Last time, reach both arms up. Maybe your palms touch at the top. So remember, your hands, your biceps don't need to be by your ears if they're slightly forward because of a shoulder mobility thing. That's totally fine. And then you're going to bring your hands through heart center. You're going to start to bend your knees a little bit and start to tip your tailbone towards the wall behind you. As you do this, you'll start to fold completely over the legs, all the way down to the ground in your forward fold. And then inhale, reach the heart forward, get long in your spine, halfway lift. And then exhale, fold over the legs. And we'll do that again. Inhale, rise up all the way to standing, arms go up to the sky. And then exhale, bring your hands into heart center. So now we're moving on to half suns. Inhale, reach both arms up to the sky. Palms might touch at the top. And then exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift, reach heart forward, get long in your spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. And then inhale, you'll rise up all the way to standing. Arms go up. And then exhale, hands into heart center. Good. Taking a full sun salutation. Inhale, reach both arms up to the sky. And then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach heart forward, get long in your spine, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Plant your hands. Step your feet back towards your high plank. And then slowly, slowly, slowly lower down halfway. So you're taking a push-up. Inhale to your upward facing dog. Reach the chest forward. And then exhale, lead with the inner thighs. Lift your hips up through plank. And then up to downward facing dog. Good. In your downward facing dog, your left foot will stay grounded as your right foot lifts up 1 inch. So the right foot's just hovering in line with the left. It's not lifted up high. It's just hanging out in space. And then from here, you're going to draw your right knee in toward your rib cage. So your hips are still lifted in this down dog shape. It's kind of like a flamingo. And then you're going to shift yourself forward and you're going to land your right foot between your hands. Go ahead and release your back knee down to the ground. And then from here, I want you to place your hands on top of your right knee. So interlace your hands on top of your right knee. And then just shimmy your right foot forward and let your hips hang really low. And so from here, you want to notice where this is in space again, right? So lift the hip points up, lengthen tailbone so that low back is supported. And then from here, we're going to press into our hands, shift our hips back so they're over our standing knee, and then shimmy that front foot back, reach both arms up to the sky. So coming into a crescent moon pose. And then we're going to take a side stretch. But before we take the side stretch, I want you to find that length in your tailbone, the lift of your left hip. And then go ahead and grab your left wrist with your right hand. Take a nice deep inhale here, and then side stretch over to the right side of your room. So if this is too much on your knee, I totally understand. You can place a blanket underneath your right knee. Left knee, excuse me. Oops. Good. So we're side stretching over, we're creating length in our low back, and we're taking a lateral flexion of the spine. So when we run, we're moving in one plane, the sagittal plane. That's back and forth. Really important that we diversify our movements. So right now we're moving in the coronal plane, side to side. Breathe. Keep lifting the left hip point. And then slowly come back up to, and reach both arms up to the sky. Place both hands down to the ground. Grab your blocks or a book if you have it, 2 books that are hopefully the same width. And you're going to tuck your back toe under and lift your back knee off the ground. From here, you're going to straighten the front leg. So you're in this wide pyramid pose. Right? So it's not your classic pyramid where your back foot hops in. Your back heel stays really lifted, nice and high. And you're going to take a slight bend in the front knee and pull the femur back in space. So nice deep stretch hamstring. And I want you to go ahead and reach the heart forward, get long in your spine, lift low belly, low rib, spread collarbones. And then go ahead and surrender over the leg. So fold deep into that front leg. You can bend your front knee as much as you need to, right? If this causes you great discomfort, which hopefully it does not, but if it does, and you like a classic pyramid, you're more than welcome to take that. But this version is pretty accessible. Good. Go ahead and reach the heart forward, get long in your spine. And then bring your hands to your hips. As you bring your hands to your hips, use your right hip to guide your right thigh back in space. And then start to bend your left knee, bend your right knee, come all the way up to a crescent lunge. Reach both arms overhead. Take a nice deep inhale and a deep exhale. Good. Let the arms reach. Notice if you've been told to pull your shoulders down your back when your arms are overhead, let's free our shoulders and let them rise. Right? So there's no restriction in the movement, really using that upward rotation. Good. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, come back to your low lunge. Hands go down to the earth. Step yourself back to your high plank. You're more than welcome to cleanse that out with a vinyasa. So lowering down to your push-up, coming into your upward facing dog, making your way to downward facing dog. Or you can skip it all together and just meet us in down dog. Find what serves your body the best. Good. And then from here, same thing we did on the other side. Root down through the right foot, just hover your left foot off the ground. So you're feeling that deep core connection of the femur sucking into the hip socket to lift the foot off the ground. And then from here, you're going to bend your left knee in towards your chest. And you're going to glide forward and land your foot between your hands. Go ahead and release your back knee down to the ground. And then interlace the hands, place them on top of your left knee, and shimmy that front foot forward. Take the groin stretch. Right, a little bit of hip flexor action here, a little bit of groin. And then notice I can feel myself dumping into my low back. My core is not turned on. So I'm going to lift the hip points. And when I do that, I feel more sensation through the hip flexor. Good. Then go ahead and press into your hands, shift your hips back over your standing knee, and then shimmy that front foot back. Good. From here, arms will lift up towards the sky. Hip points will lift. Let your shoulders be free and let them reach up towards the sky. So working upward rotation of the shoulder girdle. And then go ahead and grab your right wrist with your left hand. Keep lengthening tailbone down so we're not sitting into our low back when we side stretch, right? So if we side stretch from here, it's now a back bend and a lateral flexion, right? We want to keep the spine long and then laterally flex over to the side. Good. Keep pulling, keep reaching. So opening up through those hip flexors, opening up through the obliques, all things that need some love from our runs. Good. Notice if one hip is slightly more forward than the other. For me, I need to really stand down through the front foot and pull the mat back. And then go ahead and come back up. Reach both arms up to the sky. Release the hands down to the earth or your blocks. Tuck your back toe under, lift the back knee off the ground, and then straighten your front leg. So you're in this wide pyramid shape. The inner thigh of the back leg is shifting up and back towards the wall behind you. I like to keep a slight bend in the front knee and pull the thigh back. And then reach the heart forward, get long in your spine. And then go ahead and surrender over the front leg. Let the head be heavy. Notice if the shoulders are creeping into the ears. Lift the tips of the shoulder blades onto the spine so that there's a lot of space between your ears and your shoulders. Again, if you want to modify and release the back heel down and come into a more classic version of pyramid, you're more than welcome to. But we're really playing with balance here, right? And then go ahead and reach the heart forward, get long in your spine. Bring your hands to your hips. Start to bend both knees. Come all the way up to your crescent lunge. When you arrive, reach both arms up to the sky. Good. Nice deep inhales and exhales. Low belly, low hips, or your hip points are lifting up towards your low ribs. Nice strong legs. Right? Let the arms reach up. Okay, shoulder blades are lifting, not down your back. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, slowly release. Both hands down to the earth. Step yourself back to a high plank. You can take the vinyasa or you can skip it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Remember, in your down dog, bend your knees as much as you need to. Right? And then go ahead and shift yourself forward into a high plank shape. In your high plank, you're going to lower down onto your knees. And then we're going to go and slowly lower all the way down to our belly. Strengthening the posterior chain. Reach your arms back behind you. Palms face down on the ground. And then I want you to press down through your hands and slide the mat forward with them so that your elbows bend up towards the sky. And then really work the shoulder blades down your back. And then press down through the pubic bone and hip points. Lift low belly and chest off the ground. All right, so notice if you have a tendency to push your low belly into the ground to get yourself higher. When we do that, we actually are using our QLs to lift us. We want to avoid that, right? So lift low belly and use your lats. Work the tips of the shoulder blades down the back. The low belly is figuratively lifting, right? It's still on the ground, but we're not pressing it into the ground to lift ourselves up. And then slowly lower down. Whew. Okay, let's do that 2 more times. Press into pubic bone, lift low belly up, bend elbows so that the tips of the shoulder blades work down your back, and then reach your chest forward and up. Try not to use your low belly to lift you, right? Stay out of the low back, and then exhale, lower down. Last time, inhale, lift the chest, and exhale, lower. Plant your palms like you're taking a push-up, because you are. You can modify on your knees, or you can tuck your toes under. Take a deep breath in. Strong exhale, push yourself up. Good. If your knees are on the ground, go ahead and lift them up and off the ground. Bend your knees, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Right, so we've strengthened our core. We've started to strengthen the posterior chain. On your inhale, send the gaze forward between your hands. Bend your knees. Slowly travel forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, get long in the spine. Exhale, fold over the legs. Start to bend your knees. Invite your glutes down towards the earth. And then come into your chair pose. Utkatasana. Arms reach up, tailbone shifts back. Right? Lift the hip points, but again, here, don't flatten out your low back. We want to embrace the natural curvature in your low back. So reach the tailbone back just slightly, and then find the lift of the hip points. So take a nice deep breath in here. Exhale, come to standing, hands into your heart center. Good. Inhale to the chair. Utkatasana, bend knees, sit hips back. Exhale, fold over the legs. Inhale, reach your heart forward, get long in your spine. Exhale, high plank, plant hands, step feet back. You can move through a vinyasa. We'll meet in downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, this time we're going to lift our right leg all the way up to the sky. And then bend, open, and stretch. Kick your butt, open up your hip. Notice if the left knee is rolling in towards the center line of your mat. Keep your left knee pointing dead ahead. Lift the ribs up away from the earth and try to root down through both hands evenly. And then go ahead and square everything off. Straighten your right leg. Bend your knee in towards your nose. Land your foot between your hands. Good. I like to walk my left foot towards the left edge of my mat. And then from here, I'm really firming outer glute in. And then spinning the back heel down without letting your butt jet out to the side. Good. And then reach both arms forward, come all the way up to your warrior one. So warrior one can cause people some discomfort. If you do not like this pose, I completely understand and I don't hold it against you. You're more than welcome to pop that back heel up coming into your crescent lunge. I am on the I love warrior one camp. So if you love it as well, please join me. If not, I'm not offended. Good, reach the arms up to the sky. And then notice here, is there a big back bend, right? It's not a back bend pose, we'll get there eventually, right? Find the length of the spine, reach through the arms. Good, take a deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly release both hands down to the ground. Step yourself back to a high plank. However you want to make your way there, make your way home to downward facing dog. Good, so vinyasas are optional. You don't have to take every single chaturanga. If you love your shoulders, I would suggest skipping a couple. Okay, ready? Go ahead and lift your left leg up to the sky. Keep the right knee pointing dead ahead as you bend the left knee, open up the hip. So notice how that left rib cage wants to roll up with it. Try to keep the rib cage pointing down towards the ground. Both hands pressing into the earth. And then go ahead and square everything off. Bend your left knee in towards your nose. And gently land your foot between your hands. Again, I love to step the foot wider so that I have more space side to side. And then I like to spin the back heel down without letting that left hip jet out. Stay low as you reach both arms forward, stand down to the back leg and come all the way up to your warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Right, again, if you don't like this pose, I understand. My husband doesn't like this pose either, right? And so if you want to lift the back heel off the ground and come into a classic crescent lunge shape, you're more than welcome to. But if you're in my camp, please join me. Stand down to the back foot, lift the hip points up. Breathe, nice long spine. So we're not turning it into a back bend just yet, right? Lift the hip points, get long. We're becoming more aware of our posture, right? Creating more proprioception. Are we dumping into our low back? Are we caving into our heart? Can we keep everything lifted? Take one more inhale and then exhale, release both hands down to the earth. Step yourself back to your high plank shape. And then however you want to get there, make your way to downward facing dog. Good. So you can vinyasa, you can take the chaturanga, you can skip it all together if you're just working on building your core strength. You can just hold plank and then lift your hips. Good. From your downward facing dog, you're going to go ahead and shift yourself forward into a high plank. So you have a couple options here, okay? So you can come down onto your knees, or you can stay lifted onto the toes. But we're going to walk our hands forward so they're nowhere near underneath our shoulders. So we're in this extended plank, a little bit more core work. Like I said, you can come down onto your knees. right? As we press down through our hands, our forearms hug in towards each other. So if you're like me, the eyes of the elbows are probably coming forward, and that's totally fine. And then from here, we're gonna take a nice deep breath in. If you're shaking, you're working. And then on the exhale, we're gonna bend both elbows at the same time, lower down, forearm plank. Woo! Adjust yourself as you need. And lengthen hip points towards the ribs, tailbone towards the heels. Take a nice deep inhale here. And then exhale, slowly lower all the way down into your Sphinx pose. So elbows are directly underneath the shoulders. Forearms are down on the ground. And then you can interlace your hands if you want to. It doesn't matter to me. But I want you to stand down through the forearms and pull the mat back so that your heart spreads and opens up. And then I want you to press down through the forearms and see if you can theoretically try to rip your mat apart. Right? Chest is broad, hip points and pubic bone are firming down. Inner thighs are lifting. And then just take a peek back. Look at your toes. Are all 10 toes down onto the ground? Usually that pinky toe has a tendency to kind of do whatever it wants, right? That little piggy cried wee, wee, wee all the way home and is not listening to you. Yeah. Breathe. Keep the chest opening nice and broad. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and lower on down to the belly. You can take your arms out to a T. If your shoulders are more open, you might want to try goal posting the arms. Makes the stretch a little bit more intense. But you're going to go ahead and find that place in the arms, maybe a Y, or maybe somewhere between a Y and a T, or maybe a T directly out to a side. Each of my shoulders are a tad bit different. So we're going to roll onto our left shoulder. I'm going to take my left arm to more of a happy T. And then we're going to roll onto that left shoulder blade, taking a peck stretch. So a few options here, okay? If this is too much, back out, right? So it's a peck stretch. You can bend your left knee, or right knee, excuse me, and invite your right foot to the ground. Right? You can keep the legs stacking, right? I like the support of the foot behind you. And like I said, if ever it becomes too much, feel free to back out of it. And then we're going to slowly come onto our belly. And then we're going to take the other side. So find that place that's just right. Again, Goldilocks and Three Bears. You got to find that space where you feel just the right amount of sensation. Go ahead and roll over onto your right shoulder. Right? But we don't want it to be too much. Right? If ever something is too much, it probably means that it's not great for us. My philosophy is if it feels too good, back out. So we've moved through the strengthening part of our class today, more of the vinyasa part. And now we move more towards the releasing, the yinish part of our practice. Soft openings, gentle releases. And so this is something I strongly suggest doing at home without me, right? It's easy to do when someone's telling you to do it. It's hard to do when someone's not making you, right? It's something you don't want to always do, but this is a great stretch for us, especially after a run. Even before, really. And go ahead and come back onto your belly. And then let's come back into Sphinx. So elbows underneath the shoulders and forearms pressing down. So this is something you might need your strap for. If you have a strap or any kind of scarf, go ahead and grab it. I will demo with the strap so you all can see. I live in Kentucky, so we say y'all. Probably don't say that where you guys are. So we're in our Sphinx pose. We're going to move into Ardha Vikasana to open up the front side of our right quad. So you're going to bend your right knee. If you have a strap, you'll use your strap to loop it around your foot, and then you'll invite the foot forward towards you. If you don't need the strap, you'll grab the foot with the hand and then invite the foot just to the outside of the glute. With the strap or without the strap, I want you to focus on spinning the chest forward in space. And then notice if you're dumping into your left shoulder, try to avoid that. Press down, be proud. Good. A few more breaths here. And then slowly release the foot. You might need to adjust the spine a little bit, play with the rolling of the thighs up towards the sky to free up the low back. And then we'll take the other side. So firm down through the right forearm, bend the left knee, reach back for the left foot with the left hand or your strap. And then just invite your foot closer to the outside of your left glute. Again, if you need the strap, use the strap. This can be a lot on our knees, so be gentle with yourself, right? You don't need to push too hard. Find the expression that works best for you. And if you just got done with your run, this probably feels pretty good. And a few more breaths here. And then slowly release the foot. Come back into your Sphinx. So in your Sphinx, we're going to take a few rounds of cat-cow. I know that seems kind of funny maybe, but you're going to push down through your forearms, dome through the back, create a hollow body shape. So low belly and pubic bone lift off the ground, and then press the pubic bone back down into the ground, slide the forearms slightly back as you reach the chest forward. Good, we'll do that 2 more times. Press down through the forearms, push, 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 protract the shoulder blades away from the spine. Pubic bone lifts off the ground, and then place the pubic bone back down, reach the chest forward. Last time, press down through the forearms, push, 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 lift the pubic bone up, squeeze your tuchus, and then release the pubic bone down, reach the heart forward in space. Good. Go ahead and create a diamond shape with your hands. Rest your third eye, the space between your brows, on that diamond. And then go ahead and bend your knees, soles of the feet up to the sky, and then just take a little bit of movement, windshield wipering out your feet side to side. And releasing the low back. Good. And slowly release the feet down to the ground. Walk your hands back so they're near your shoulders. Press up into a tabletop pose. And then sit your hips back onto your heels. Okay, so we're gonna move into a more restorative posture. If you have blocks, you can use your blocks. If you have a big pillow, you can use a big pillow. If you have books, totally use your books, okay? So let's take your blocks if you have them. Place one on the flattest level, and then take the other on just one level higher. So baby bear, mama bear. The highest level is papa bear, okay? And you're gonna rest your shoulder blades directly on top of your blocks. Okay, so this is really important. You don't want them to be underneath your shoulder blades. You want them to be right at your shoulder blades, because if they're slightly under, it's a little bit of pressure on that T12L1 junction and it might not feel superb. So we want to avoid that. If you don't have blocks and you have a big, thick pillow or cushion, you can use, or a bolster, a yoga bolster. You can lay down onto your bolster, okay, or your pillow. So just reclining back down, taking the arms out to a T. If you have blocks, using your blocks underneath your shoulders. I prefer blocks actually to the bolster, but that's just me. You get to decide, it's your practice. That's the beauty of yoga, right? There is no one size fits all. There is just other, and it's nice to be able to explore other. Right? And then, so you'll draw your arms out to a T or goal post, whatever feels good to you. If you feel this in your low back, you're more than welcome to bend your knees and invite the soles of your feet on the ground. I like to lengthen tailbone towards the heel so my butt scoops up, and then releasing the butt down towards the ground. And then from here, once you've created that space in your low back, you can open up the chest. Right? If you have a yoga blanket or a Mexican blanket, you're more than welcome to use that as well. Do they call them Mexican blankets where you guys are? We do here in the States. I don't know if that's a universal thing or not. Good. And just a couple of breaths, finding this opening in the chest. And actually a nice little stretch for the core. So we did quite a bit of core work today, whether you realized it or not. Right? The stronger our core is, the more stable our low back is. Good. And you can keep the feet active, or you can let the feet fall out to the side. You get to choose. Right? Just keep the chest open. And this is our final back bend for today's practice. So if you've got a little bit more in you and you want to take a full wheel, you're more than welcome to. But sometimes less is more. And just allowing your body to give into gravity is really powerful. Okay. And just a couple more breaths here. Chest is opening. Breath is even. And then from here, let's go ahead and walk the feet in, knees bend. Reach the arms overhead. And then you're gonna roll over onto your favorite side. So I'm gonna strongly suggest not lifting your head. Just let everything plop over to the side. And then with your head down, you'll move your stuff out of the way. And then go ahead and come onto your back. Hug your knees into your chest and give yourself a squeeze. Then one last little stretch. Grab your strap. Strap, scarf, or belt, whatever you have. Wrap your strap around the ball mount of your right foot. And then send your right leg straight up towards the sky as you reach your left leg forward. Good. So your knee might be bent, depending on the health of your hamstring, right? And that's fine. Doesn't matter to me. I just want you to be happy. Good. So just a little bit of tension on the strap, getting a nice little stretch in the back of the leg. And then we're going to take our strap in our left hand and draw our right arm out to a T or goal post, just depending on what you have space for. Keep your left toes pointing straight up toward your sky. And for now, I want you to keep your right butt cheek on the ground. And then go ahead and draw your strap over, or your leg over to the left about 45 degrees without letting your bum lift off the ground though, okay? And then that'll probably feel really good in your IT bands. And if it gets too intense and you start holding your breath, you're probably not going to like it so much. So Keep breathing. Nice deep belly breaths in and out. I'm gonna take one more inhale, and then we're gonna take a full twist. So again, let everything plop over to the other side. If you want to place a bolster or a block underneath your right leg, you're more than welcome to. Your butt lifts off the ground, your right shoulder stays on the ground, and you just keep a little bit of tension on the strap. Good. Couple more breaths. And go ahead and pull into your strap. Bring your foot back up through center. Grab the strap with both hands. Give that foot a little tug toward your face. And then release the strap. Hug your right knee in towards your chest and give it a little squeeze. And then go ahead and release the right leg down to meet the left. And you'll probably feel a little difference between your right and left leg. It might feel a little bit longer. That's a total normal sensation that you're feeling. So don't be scared. It's there. I promise they're still there and they're still even. So bend your left knee, invite the strap around the ball mount of your left foot and send your left leg straight up towards the sky. Right leg is long. Little tension on the strap to pull the toes back towards the face. Nice and long length along the back side of your left leg. If you need to bend the knee by all means. Do you. Then go ahead and grab your strap with your right hand. Draw your left arm out to a T. Your left butt stays on the ground as you invite the left leg over to the right. So pretty big stretch through that IT band. It probably feels good for some of us. Maybe not so much for others. But I want you to breathe, right? Breathe into that outer hip. Embrace the stretch. If it's too much, you're more than welcome to back out. One more inhale here. And then all the way over to the right side of your mat, right side of your room. Left shoulder stays down on the ground. If you need to place your foot on something, you're more than welcome to. Taking one last stretch. And then slowly pull into the strap. Bring the leg back up through center. Hug your left knee in toward your chest. Give it a squeeze. Bring your right leg in to meet your left. And take a couple rocks side to side. And then set yourself up for your Savasana. Sending your legs out long. Your arms down by your side. If you want to place a bolster underneath your knees, you are more than welcome to. But I want you to find a place where you feel the most comfort, right? Where you can truly let go and find the most amount of ease and rest. And allowing yourself to remain in stillness. And allowing the breath to return to its natural state. No constriction, no control. Just natural breathing. And you slowly start to invite tender movements back into your body, and bringing awareness back into the breath. Whispering energy into fingers and toes, and rolling out your wrists and your ankles. Massaging out the back of your skull, shaking your chin from right to left. Eventually reaching your arms overhead like your first morning stretch of the day. Inviting one knee in and then the other. And then gently rolling onto your favorite side for fetal pose. And just taking some time in this space to honor yourself for showing up on your mat today. And then when you're ready, rising up to a seat. Any seat's a good seat. Joining the hands together in front of the heart. A slight bow of the chin towards the hands. Thank you for joining me today on your mats. Namaste. Thank you so much, friends. Again, my name's Christina Sleeper. I'm based out of Lexington, Kentucky in the States. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot them over to me. I'm happy to help at any capacity. Other than that, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.